Hello quilting friends and welcome to Patchwork Quilts with Diane. My name's Diane and this is the first video for 2024. If you're new, welcome, and if you're a subscriber, it's great to have you back. And if you are new to my channel, I usually design a quilt. So I share the design process and I post those designs onto my community page. So if you subscribe, they're there all free of charge. And then I make the quilt and then I show it. And then I either keep it, gift it, or put it in my Etsy shop. So all of those things I'm going to share with you this year. People have also asked if I would post on a regular basis. So my aim is to post on a Sunday. So I will try and make a weekly video. It won't obviously be complete quilts every week because I might make a few, but I don't make that many. So I will make a quilting video, quilting related video every week, and I'm going to post that. People have also asked if they could see my quilting journal and my planner. So yeah, if you want to. And you can always switch the off button if it becomes too boring. But yep, so start of the new year, start of a new journal. I'm going to show you that in this video. But to start with, I'd like to show you how I cleaned up my space ready for the new year. It's not a huge space, nothing fancy, but I love it. And I'll share that with you now. Well, this is my sewing room at the moment. I have just moved out quite a few Christmas parcels, but as you can see, things have just been abandoned. I've got to come and tidy away the top of this leprechaun quilt, and there's all pieces here. There's pieces hanging around. Oh my goodness. I'm not a person that likes to work in a mess. And I think that I'm going to give this a good clean now, and I think I can utilise the space a little bit better. Well, it's like a little Christmas miracle. I've hardly been working on maybe an hour, but look how lovely it looks already. I've still got all of these shelves to take out and clean, and the top, but I've cleaned everywhere else. And that little lamp, that looks a little bit odd maybe there, but it's surprising how much warmth I get from this light on my back. So sometimes when I'm sewing, I get a cold back and that warms that, so I want that to stay. But it's so cosy. And look at this. I now have, walking into the lamp, a wall. That could possibly be a design wall. I've been dreaming of one for ages. I think my main concern now will be whether I can work an ironing board in that space. I could treat myself to one of the wall ironing mats. Could sit on the top here. That would work really well. Something else to think about. So as you can see, there is enough space for the ironing board and I can walk through comfortably. So I'm not squashed anywhere. And this now will be great for my cutting mat. So I'm not going to go with an ironing mat because I don't really need one. So when I haven't got my sewing machine out, this is the view from my table. And as you can see, there's some greenery here. Nice little peace lily. That was a gift a few years ago now from my son, on Mother's Day actually, but it's doing well. And these cacti on the windowsill, they were little baby things that were bought in that bowl, but they just went huge. I've repotted them and they're quite vicious with the spikes on them. So they've had to come in here with me because quite frankly, they're a bit of a liability with other people around. So I've got this view. So there's all bits and bobs in there. There's still things I have to decide whether I want to keep or not. But it's quite tidy, quite happy with that. And then I've got that big spare wall there, which could be a design wall. However, over the Christmas period, I secured, just with drawing pins, a piece of cotton batting to this piece of wall that's behind the door. And I've put a piece of cotton on, just rubbed it across, and it works really well. So technically I could just pin a piece of cotton batting to the big wall and use that as a display board. But I can't make up my mind whether I want to be looking at a big blank white wall for good periods of time. And so this dream of having a display board is now just simmering in the background. So what I think I'm going to do at the moment is put the display board on hold for a short while, and then if I come to make a quilt where I want to put the blocks up on the wall to display, then I can just use the batting that I've got for that quilt, pin that to the wall and use it. And then in time, if I decide that I want to have a permanent board, then I'll do that. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. I can hear you. Do the board, do the board. I probably will, possibly. I don't know. Until I'm sure, I've left that one on hold. And so that's my working space, and I absolutely love it. I haven't always had a space to call my own that I could designate to things that I like to do. It's only in later life that that has been possible. So I do appreciate it, and I'm very happy to share that with you. So now I will move on to sharing my journal with you. It's nothing spectacular. Sometimes it's pretty. I was going to say it's not very pretty. That's not true. Some days I do spend time when I'm thinking things through, making pretty images. But that's not its purpose. Its purpose is to be a working book. And I'll show you how I go about organising a quilting journal if you're interested. So this is the book I'm going to use this year as my quilting journal. It's spiral bound. It's slightly different from the books that I normally use, but it had hearts on. And if you know anything about last year, it just spoke to me. So I've gone for this, and it's got a nice little tie. It's not quite as big as the other quilt books that I've used in the past, but the pages in there are okay, not as good quality, but I think they'll do the job, and I decided to go with it. So let me show you inside. Now, I don't want you to be disappointed. I've got to tell you that I'm not precious about it. There are all sorts of scribbles and notes and dreams and ideas and thoughts. It is a working book. I feel like I'm at school and doing a show and tell. Okay, are you ready for the big reveal? Ta-da! That's the first 2 pages in this year's journal. So as you can see, there is a theme for dragons, and I'll explain why. So I think what must have happened is somewhere along the way I heard someone say that 2024 is the Chinese year of the wood dragon, and I'm not particularly superstitious, but if I can get a little bit of luck from anywhere, I'll take it. I really believe in you making your own luck, but you know, I've just gone with it because I wanted to, and it's my book. So that's the real explanation of how I've got dragons in there. And then I thought, well, what does that actually mean? The year of the dragon, is that a good thing? And so I did a little bit of light-hearted research about what it actually means to be living in the year of the wood dragon. And it says it brings authority, prosperity and good fortune. Okay, I'll take some of that. It says the lucky colour for the wood dragon is green, and we should immerse ourselves in the lush and vibrant energy of green. It represents peace, balance and maturity. Well, I think we could all do with that. Maybe a little less of maturity, but definitely peace and balance. And I have got green in my room, lots of plants. And it said 2024 is a time for renewal, inspiration and innovation, meaning it's a great time to start new projects, whatever they may be. So I thought, oh, I like the sound of having a dragon as a theme. I don't always have themes in my journals, but sometimes I do. This year I have. And then this is the decider of why I went with dragons, because it said, as of the 4th of February, the world enters the year of the wood dragon, which ushers in new beginnings. Well, it's my birthday on the 4th of February, so it was a sign. I don't believe in signs, but anyway, that sealed the deal. That's why I've gone with the year of the dragon. So I'll show you inside now. So this part of the journal, the very first page, there is a fantastic looking dragon. Look how beautiful she is. It was actually a birthday card. I was in the shops looking for birthday cards for members of my family when I came across this. And because I think all of that stuff about dragons was in the back of my mind when I saw this, but I'm having that. And it said happy birthday on this corner, so I've just put 2024 over the top. And sometimes in my journal I have a word of the year, sometimes I don't. This year it's self. And I've put next to it, because I'm worth it. And that was a phrase used in advertisements in the UK a little while ago. And it's really a way of saying I'm going to spoil myself a little bit because I'm worth it. And this year, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to think about myself a little bit more, and I'm going to spoil myself a little bit more because it's been quite tough over the last few years and I've forgotten to do that. Don't get excited, there's nothing major in here. One of the things that I used to do was I'd have a weekly long soak in the bath, and somehow I've got out of that habit, and I've done that recently, and I remembered how much I loved it just to have that time. So that's back in. And this year so far, I'm going to attend the Festival of Quilts again. For the last few years I've been unable to do that because of different reasons, and this year I am going. So once I decided on the word self and wrote it down, I did feel a little bit guilty, because people just don't do that, do they? You don't tend to put yourself first. And it's interesting really. I asked a number of people to give me 3 words with the prefix self. And in almost all cases, one of those 3 words was selfish. And I think that's why it's hidden away inside the card. Because you do think, it's a bit selfish to put yourself first. But I'm going to. Not in a huge way. I'm not going to ignore everybody, but I'm definitely going to look after myself. And I think it's something we can all do. So let's just do it. And, maybe not tell the whole world like I'm telling you now, sharing that bit of information. But that's what I'm doing. I'm going to think of myself. I still feel guilty saying it. Anyway, moving on. Let's have a look at the next part. And so this next page also has a little picture of a dragon in flight. So this is my dream dragon. This holds all of the things that I'd like to do, my aspirations for 2024. I've called her Lila. It's the name of the character in the book I'm reading at the moment. And so I think Delilah the dragon, or Lila, suits her. It's not finished. What I will do is come back when I'm sort of pondering things. I will start adding bits and bobs to her, and that's part of my thought process. But a reason why she's here on a piece of watercolour paper is because I'm a really scruffy writer, and I don't find it very attractive to look at. My father was brilliant at calligraphy, and I think I now look at this and think, oh dear, let's put that over. But as writing as a communication tool, which it is, that's its main objective, it's fine. I've got all my notes down there. So as I think of things, I just scribble them down. They're not in any particular order, and then I will start working my way through them. At the moment, I have to continue making Project Linus quilts, to continue making YouTube videos. I may or may not enter the Festival of Quilts this year. There's a category called Sustainable Quilts, so I've jotted down some information about that. That's something I'd be quite interested in, I think. I've never entered a quilt into a show before, so there'd be lots of new things there. Etsy, I'm going to work on Etsy. I'll do another video about that because that's a whole different animal. I want to work with some solid fabrics in a quilt. I've never made a quilt that's just solid fabrics. I've never made an art quilt. I'd quite like to do that. And I want to make sure that I've made quilts for different events or themes of the year. So those are the scribblings for this year. So when we turn over to the next page in my journal, this is where it's more work rather than ideas. I keep notes of my Etsy sales. So I fill these in monthly, and then this column are ideas for quilts that I might want to put in my shop for that month. And so January, I've put down RSPB 26th to the 28th. So in the UK, we have an organisation called the RSPB, which is the Royal Society for Protection of Birds. And every January, they do something called a Big Bird Watch, where people from all over the kingdom are watching birds for an hour in their gardens or parks or their local area, and they're just noting down the types of birds that are visiting them in that hour. And so it's quite a nice event. I'll be doing that. So I'm going to create a quilt for that, and I've decided I'm going to use the traditional pattern of birds in the air, and it's going to be a blue and white quilt. So that's ongoing, and that's why I've been just doodling these little birds while I've been thinking about that. In January, on the 23rd, I've got to take the Project Linus quilts over for those to be received, and I'll make the videos and I'll make the thank you cards. And so to decorate January's page, I just put a watercolour wash over the whole of the page, and these little images were images from a Christmas card that one of my sons bought us, so I've added those. There's all sorts of little personal touches in here that are just gives me pleasure when I flick through to look at. So that's my room, that's my journal, that's my thoughts for 2024. I'm about to go and hit the shops, so I'm hoping that I might be able to find some fabric, bargain fabric. And if I can, I'll bring that back and I'll share that with you. But for now, I'm going to close, and I'm going to wish you all a fantastic 2024. And if you want to join me in my quilting projects and all things quilty, I will see you on a Sunday. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.